If you are serious about building a garden that thrives year after year instead of fighting you every season, you're in the right place. Understanding why nature always has the upper hand in your garden. Nature has been gardening successfully for millions of years without fertilizers in plastic bags or constant digging. Rain falls, leaves drop, roots grow, organisms decompose organic matter, and nutrients cycle continuously. When we ignore these processes and impose rigid systems, we create stress for both plants and soil. A garden that fights nature usually shows signs like compacted soil, pest explosions, nutrient deficiencies, and constant dependency on external inputs. When you work with natural cycles, the garden starts regulating itself. Pests reduce because predators move in, soil fertility increases because life below ground is protected, and plants grow stronger because their roots can access what they need naturally. Learning to read your site before planting anything. Every successful nature-aligned garden begins with observation. Spend time understanding how sunlight moves across your space, where water collects after rain, and which areas dry out fastest. For example, if one section receives 6 to 8 hours of direct sun while another gets only morning light, forcing sun-loving crops like tomatoes into shade will lead to weak growth and disease. Instead, plant tomatoes where full sun already exists and reserve partial shade areas for leafy greens or herbs. Pay attention to wind direction as well. If strong winds come from one side, planting taller, tougher plants or shrubs as wind buffers will protect delicate crops without building artificial barriers. Working with your soil instead of constantly disturbing it. Healthy soil is alive, and every time it is aggressively dug, the underground ecosystem is disrupted. Earthworms, beneficial fungi, and microbes work together to transport nutrients and improve structure. A simple rule is to disturb soil only when necessary. If you must loosen compacted soil, do it once deeply, then maintain it with organic matter on top. Applying a layer of compost at a ratio of about 2 to 3 centimeters thick twice a year feeds the soil naturally. Covering this with mulch slows moisture loss and protects soil organisms from heat and erosion. Over time, roots penetrate deeper, water infiltration improves, and you will notice fewer problems with nutrient deficiencies, using mulch as nature's protective blanket. In natural systems, bare soil is rare. Leaves, grass, and plant residues constantly cover the ground. Mulching imitates this process and solves several problems at once. Organic mulch, like dry leaves, straw, or grass clippings, applied at a thickness of 5 to 8 centimeters, reduces weeds by blocking light, retains moisture, and breaks down into organic matter. In vegetable beds, keeping mulch a few centimeters away from plant stems prevents rot while still protecting the soil. In hot climates, mulched beds can reduce watering frequency by nearly half, which saves time and preserves soil structure. Letting plants work together through smart combinations. Nature rarely grows plants in isolation, and gardens really benefit from the same principle. Mixing crops reduces pest pressure and improves soil use. For example, combining legumes with heavy feeders is a powerful natural strategy. Beans or peas fix nitrogen in the soil, which benefits crops like maize, cabbage, or tomatoes planted nearby. A practical ratio is planting 1 row of legumes for every 2 rows of heavy feeders. Herbs like basil or coriander planted among vegetables can confuse pests and attract beneficial insects. This approach reduces reliance on sprays and strengthens the entire garden ecosystem. Watering in a way that supports roots and soil life is honestly crucial. Watering against nature usually means shallow, frequent watering that keeps roots near the surface. This creates weak plants that struggle during heat or drought. Watering deeply and less often encourages roots to grow downward where moisture lasts longer. A good practice is watering until the top 20 to 30 centimeters of soil are moist, then allowing the surface to dry slightly before watering again. Early morning watering aligns with natural dew cycles and reduces disease. Collecting rainwater and directing runoff toward garden beds mimics natural hydration patterns and reduces waste. Managing pests by strengthening the system, not attacking symptoms. In a balanced garden, pests are signals, not enemies. An outbreak often means plants are stressed or predators are missing. Instead of immediately spraying, ask what the system lacks. Are flowers present to attract beneficial insects? Are plants overcrowded and competing for nutrients? Adding flowering plants like marigolds or sunflowers at a ratio of 1 flowering plant for every 4 to 5 vegetable plants increases predator presence. Healthy soil produces plants with stronger cell walls, making them less appealing to pests. When intervention is necessary, mild solutions like soap sprays should be used sparingly to avoid harming beneficial organisms. Feeding plants by feeding the soil first. Synthetic fertilizers force quick growth but weaken long-term soil health. Organic inputs feed microbes that slowly release nutrients in forms plants can actually absorb. Compost, aged manure, and plant-based teas work best when applied consistently rather than heavily. For example, compost tea diluted at a ratio of 1 part compost to 5 parts water, applied once every 2 weeks, supports steady growth without burning roots. Over time, soil organic matter increases, improving nutrient retention and reducing the need for constant feeding. Accepting seasonal rhythms instead of fighting them is, honestly, one of the most important lessons in gardening. Nature works in cycles, and successful gardeners respect these rhythms. Trying to grow cool-season crops in peak heat or warm-season crops in cold soil leads to disappointment. Align planting times with local seasons and temperatures. Allow beds to rest between cycles by planting cover crops or leaving mulch in place. This rest period restores nutrients and breaks pest life cycles naturally. Gardens that follow seasonal flow produce better harvests with less effort, building resilience by allowing small imperfections. A garden aligned with nature is not perfectly uniform, and that is a strength. Some plants will thrive more than others, and observing these patterns teaches you what works best in your environment. Save seeds from the strongest plants because they are already adapted to your conditions. Over several seasons, this natural selection builds a garden that performs better each year without extra inputs. Gardening with nature is a mindset that transforms how you grow. When you stop battling soil, weather, pests, and seasons, gardening becomes more predictable and enjoyable. You spend less time fixing problems and more time harvesting results. Start by observing, protecting your soil, and making small adjustments that align with natural systems. These changes compound over time into a garden that practically takes care of itself. If this guide helped you see your garden differently, subscribe to Evergreen Garden for more practical, no-nonsense gardening knowledge. Share this with another gardener who needs it, and drop a comment below telling us what natural practice you are ready to apply first. This channel grows stronger when serious gardeners grow together.